you. Thank you. All set? All right, so during the executive session, the board did discuss the land parcels and the contract negotiations. Moving on to the consent agenda, the minutes will be ready for our next meeting, and our first abatement is 10 Zilpha Road. Was there anything you want to share about Zilpha, anything in particular?
It was a pretty thorough explanation that they provided regarding the leaking toilet. The only unknown is how long it had been leaking before the tenant made the owner aware so that they could have it repaired. But from usage, seems like it was going for quite some time.
Yeah, it's 277,000 gallons for 924.
And it did provide proof that it was repaired.
Right.
The part that sticks out most with me is that now that I know the result of, wait a minute, we never had this issue in all the years of coming to our home since 1954. This is a one-time occurrence. Well, I would think that stopper would have worn out by 1954.
Yeah.
Could I ask, and I may have been told this before, you know, some utilities have like a first time, we give them a little break.
We do that.
And I didn't quite know how that worked.
So, in the past, well, I guess the new policy, do you know it offhand?
I can get it. I'll grab it.
There is a
In the rules and regs.
Yeah, in the rules and regs that were updated for that. I think we have a disaster rate or something to that
Right.
effect in there, so.
I know the utility I work for, we even used to track it, and, you know, that way we knew for sure when people came back, you know, that it was, but that was about discounts, that wasn't about actual usage, so that's a easier thing, that's a financial thing, it's not real loss of revenue. See, now that I know how to read my water meter, this would never happen to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm obsessed with looking at it now.
Well, this one here, if you have a quiet moment, you can hear these running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of water for 3
Yeah,
months.
3 months, that's a lot of water for 3 months, 277,000
Yeah.
gallons? I mean, is there anything else that's going on? at
Is
that
there, do
property?
they have irrigation in the house, or?
Yeah, there's irrigation on this.
Tracy?
Might have had a broken head at one point that got fixed too at the beginning of the season, so it was like
Okay.
a double whammy between, I think, it's probably
Right.
listed in the notes section from Eunice. I think the toilet was one, and then in the beginning he had a head break and that
Okay.
was fixed.
And the head's more like for that amount.
Yeah.
It seemed to me the head would have been in the
That flapper
previous
would have been
quarter.
wide open on the
Thank
toilet
you.
to get that
Well
kind
said.
of line. Yeah.
So section 3.8,
So yeah, one broken head was fixed right away. Well, right away to when the system was turned on.
That would have been in the previous quarter, wouldn't it? Because on this thing it's saying March, I don't know if that means turn on the water by March 26th or turn on the irrigation.
That's a seasonal account, Wellesley?
Yeah.
So they do turn the water off. Dan, you had the language there?
yeah, so the full section reads, all claims for adjustments of water bills shall be made within 30 days of the billing due date. Abatements will be made for clerical errors, misreads, or failure of department equipment. Abatements will not be issued for water leaks or high consumption unless otherwise determined by the Board of Water Wastewater Commissioners. In determining abatements for domestic water leaks, excluding irrigation leaks, usage from 3 similar usage quarters can be averaged, and any usage above be considered for adjustment at a first-tier rate as a one-time disaster forgiveness
Oh,
occurrence.
that's right, I forgot, we still charge them, but it's at the first tier.
Yeah.
So what would that bill be? Has everybody figured out?
So we would be looking at the prior 3 similar usage quarters, so, bear with me 1 second.
Calculators, please. So it'll still be a lot of money, be about 250,000 gallons at the first tier.
Usage.
Well, I got one year, 74, 58, 63.
So for the similar cores, it would have
86.
54,000, 58,000, and 74,000.
What about the 86 then? November 8th, September 2016.
So that would be going back a 4th quarter.
Okay.
So 54. So the average water use is 62,000 gallons. So 277 minus. It'd be 215,000 gallons billed at Tier 1.
$1.35.
You read mine? Okay.
That's all we have here. I can't remember.
It's $159.
215 and $1.35?
Yeah. So 215 times
135.
I'd
290.25.
I'd split it 50/50.
What'd you get then?
It would be the 290.25 for the 215,000, and the other 62 would be the average of the prior 3.
Yeah.
So that would be billed at the regular. So it'd be about another $260. So it'd be about 500.
From 1670?
Which I think is exactly what they asked for.
Well, the amount they're requesting is $1,270.
So that means off it, that's what they're
Yeah.
saying, so they want to pay
Yeah.
500.
So 1670. That's 400. They have it, they do it this way. 400. And then you're saying it's what, 5 something?
Yeah, it's just under 500. I got 290.25 for the leaky usage, and then it would be 62,000 gallons at our normal rate. So I just have to work through all the.
Yep. Oh, I see.
Do you have one of those cheat sheets with the gallons with the?
Moving forward, we can put this calculation somewhere on the abatement, so,
Quick reference.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we split it, it's $835. Like Al said.
Let's split it.
Yeah, because someone's got to pay for that. Someone's got to pay for the water. I mean, we just
Yeah.
can't.
I mean, it's the first time, let's just Like Al said, just split it.
Yeah, 50/50.
So by that, what do you mean?
$800.
So 1670 is what the
Right.
bill is. We just, if we go half. 50,
Oh, I
50,
see. Okay.
It's 835.
Yeah.
If we do it their way, they're looking
No,
at
no,
400.
that's fine, I just didn't know where you were
Yeah.
coming from, the
When
800.
we're in these situations, we're just shifting the burden to
Yeah.
somebody else.
No, I'm totally in
Yeah.
agreement, I just didn't know where
I gave that
the
up a
number
long
was
time
coming
ago.
from.
you know.
Yep.
I mean, their plumbing is not our problem.
Right,
So total, under the section 3.8 would be, result in a bill of $562.49.
Yeah, I like
Let's just-
835
Yeah,
better.
let's split it.
I don't like that either, but, I mean, I'm trying to be fair.
To everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
But again, this is a one-time noted,
Yeah,
one-time
one time.
relief. And you have rentals in there, you know, you don't know what people are doing, they're running water, you know,
right.
what's going on, so I mean.
I can't believe people would hear a toilet running and not,
Well, it's not
Tell
yours.
somebody.
16,
Well, it's not
that's a
yours,
lot of, that's a
no?
lot of gallonage for just.
Yeah.
I
just
know,
the
I mean, it
toilet.
had to be running, you know,
No, I think it's more than
constantly.
something, more than that.
Yeah, it just seems odd to me that,
Leslie, we can't, have you picked up any water leak detections with the irrigation?
So they have the odor style meter, they don't have anything recorded.
plus
All right.
that might have even been in the other quarter anyway, that might be a red herring.
All right, so it looks like we're in agreement on the splitting the bill to 835. Is that the census? Or a motion?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
okay.
All right. Teresa, do you want us to wait to sign everything at the end?
Yeah, we'll sign it.
Okay. So we don't lose anything. All right, 11 Harbor Way.
This gentleman's here joining us.
Okay, good morning.
So, I don't know who would begin, but this got fairly technical, and if somebody could explain to me verbally what went on, I would appreciate it.
I think from our standpoint, this is the fish house at the end of
Right.
Harbor Way. And from my understanding, I wasn't there, the two people who were involved couldn't be here, so. Either Friday night or Saturday morning, one of them went there and saw water pouring out of the manhole and called the water department and got a voicemail. And apparently the voicemail says something, if it's an emergency, we'll get back to you or something, but nobody ever called back. They made connection on Monday morning, and your people came pretty quickly and fixed it. My understanding is that it was a rusted connection at the water meter. When we got the bill, our bills had, I think the last three bills were average about $100 or something like that, 111, 152, and 62, I think were the three bills, and this one was 2,400. And we just think that if it was at the meter, and, I think the town installed the meter, I would assume that we wouldn't be responsible for a leak that was going for at least a few days after we notified you.
I'm sorry, sir, could I just ask for the record what your name is?
I'm sorry, Rick Sawyer.
Okay, thank you.
I'm the president of the company that leases the fish house.
Dan, so is this meter in salt water?
So, from what I gained from, reviewing the account, there's obviously a meter pit there. It's, I imagine, given its address, I'm familiar with the property, that it's probably tidal influence. When tide comes in, it's probably submerged in water. There's a handful of them out there that we have. Again, I would attribute it to the salt water salinity degrading the bottom of the meter.
So how many had failed? Is
The
that
meter
right?
failed.
Okay. All right.
Who's responsible for the meter?
Property owners are responsible for the meters.
So when the meter failed, how did the manhole flowing over get involved from the meter failing? Pardon the layperson.
Yeah, so the meter pit itself, I don't know if it's what type of meter pit it is, but it's, you know, got a manhole cover on it, and the pipe
Okay.
comes in through the, through the bottom,
Alright.
so once that,
Yeah, so it's not the manhole out in the street?
No.
or- Okay, all right. So it's the manhole on this property?
It's in the parking lot.
On
is
the
this the building on stilts?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's gotta be likely why it's in a meter pit.
So what day do you remember them calling about the leak?
It was a Friday or Saturday in August, I don't know the exact day. And it was dealt with on.
So is this something we would have billed for our repair work,
For the meter,
for repairing the meter?
yes.
So in addition to this water usage, there's a repair bill out there?
That I don't know, I was just gonna look and see on the, it's not on the bill.
Yeah, and Steve wrote, looks like no charge
Okay.
for the meter.
That was gonna be one of my questions, if we didn't get charged for a service fee. I would assume that it's the town's responsibility. I don't,
I would have to defer to Steve to, you know, see why you made that decision.
Well, if the call came in Friday, Saturday, how come we waited until Monday to get out there? What happened?
Well, that's what
Yeah, yeah.
because the key prompt after hours pages to the on-call phone, so that is also a question I have.
Yeah, and then the other thing, where this meter is susceptible to salt water,
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised we hadn't pulled it long before.
I'm feeling a little unsure about this one.
Oh, yeah, well, me too. They called, what, Friday?
Right.
I mean, obviously, we have standby, but something
Leslie.
doesn't connect.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I did have a chance to talk to Steve about this, because it seems like there was some uncertainty about what actually happened down there. And he mentioned that the bottom of the meter, which is where the freeze plate is, that's what cracked. So very much like a frozen meter, when it cracks, the water goes through, but it doesn't register because it doesn't go through the rotating disc. It just leaks out of the bottom. So he was unsure about why there will be so much water, and that he felt wasn't associated with the crack, the usage itself, because that's how the freeze plate works. It actually goes through the bottom meter rather than through the oscillating disc to register the usage. So I'm not quite sure how that might help explain.
So if the water didn't go through the meter,
It would have been registered prior to. But I guess, you know, yeah. But I mean, I guess that, I'm just thinking if, you know, that much water's gushing out the bottom of a freeze plate, if that disc doesn't, you know.
we're looking
How
at
big is the meter?
I'm sure it's just
1 inch,
3.
huh?
I don't have it on here. If it's standard, it's likely the
5/8.
typical 5/8 by 3/4.
There's one statement on here that I don't think is true, but please correct me if I'm wrong. In the reason for abatement request, it says, water pouring out of manhole and driveway, water department fixed it on Monday, wouldn't have if problem was ours. I mean, I think the water department fixed any service problem anyway, and then we charge you. This gentleman chose not to charge you, but they would have fixed that anyway.
my
Yeah,
My
just to be, I mean, it's not doesn't lead to conclusive
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah.
They would have to have fixed it.
Yep.
And most people would be getting a bill for like 2,000, usually. It depends with the service line and everything else for that repair.
Really?
Was what was involved. I mean, that's a generalization because you have service lines that go a long distance or a short distance or anything else, but
Yeah.
that's why I asked about the bill. It's substantial.
Is this seasonal?
Hey, Steve. Steve,
Yeah, pretty
we're just discussing the 11 Harbor Way.
Probably from.
How deep is the pit?
Steve,
It's
could you
only a 2 foot.
2 foot? So it could freeze if one was pulled?
I don't know if you guys consider it season, we don't use it all year long.
the season's a shut off, we shut it off.
Yeah, so
So if
that's,
it's not, so seasonal to us is a shut off.
yeah. No,
Okay, so it's not
I
seasonal.
don't think so. We just don't use it.
So was it split or did it rust out or?
So the meter, the freeze plate actually rusted out. So we ordered a meter pit that has a plastic bottom on it with zinc bolts.
Oh, yeah. I just heard you said it's 2 feet when it froze.
Could I ask Steve, on the repair bill, I'm just curious why you chose no charge?
I would have to see.
Okay.
Oh, as far as the meter goes?
Yeah.
The meter, it's more that it was sitting in salt water, that it wasn't anything that, neglect as far as the freeze plate freezing and busting off. It was more of a defect or
I
the
see.
other meter should have been put in.
Okay.
So when you say the other meter should have been put in, what other meter, the plastic type?
Yes, the one that we just installed.
Okay.
So, you're saying this is more of our problem than their problem?
As far as,
Yes, Steve, whose fault is it, Steve? This isn't gonna reflect on you personally, whose fault is it, bottom
The
line?
thing of it is they called in on Friday or whatever, Saturday. We didn't respond till Monday and the water was running.
so, I'm not sure if I have two different things here to correct me if I'm wrong though. Are we talking about the usage that went through the meter, or are we talking about the water that came out of the freeze?
We're trying to figure out usage, because right now we're looking at 388,000 gallons going through.
So even if the water came out of the freeze plate, it's not gonna calculate that water because the disc is moving.
Okay.
So even when we have regular frozen meters and the plate's flush to the bottom, the meter doesn't spin because the disc is not spinning.
Okay.
So are we saying that this usage is not related to the meter?
My personal opinion, I don't think it is, because it wouldn't calculate the water that was coming out of the freeze plate.
So you're saying never made it through the little spin, the register? All right. Have we replaced this plastic piece, in other meters that are under salt water, or?
So we don't have many meters that are in salt water. When, I remember installing this one, when we first went there, the tide was never that high. That's why we installed it right above the water level there.
Okay,
Now that parking lot goes up.
all right.
And we probably have one or two more that I know off the top of my head that's in salt water.
Is that something that we can move that pit, get it out of the salt water? Is that something we could do, or? No, that's another question for another time. Another question for another time.
Could I ask why the number shows up under the column marked pit, the 22,000? On the usage page?
Right there?
Yeah,
Why does it say that?
yeah.
Replaced usage when you
Oh,
change
yeah,
the meter?
that's
So that was the meter reading, the replaced usage from the old meter, if you can explain that better.
So when you change the meter out,
Okay,
it's a holding place.
right.
We take the old reading off,
Ah, okay.
and then we put the new meter in until it bills out, then it captures that old
I
reading
see.
and
Okay.
combines it with the new
So
meter.
that's just
to
a- yeah.
bill, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions for Steve, so he can not have to stay here? Alan?
No, I'm good.
Thanks, Steve, appreciate it. It just seems like we have a perfect storm here. We have a couple of things going on that just kind of all led up to this meter failing. And what was installed, it wasn't in a high tide situation. Over the years, now it is in a high tide situation, so that's something that we should probably address too.
I'm just really confused because of the question that this usage might not be from, I mean, things can be coincidences, unusual as though they may be. And if this is not related to the meter and the manhole problems, I mean, I don't know what to say.
I don't know that it'd be, we didn't use any more water than we normally do.
Right.
We only use it to clean tanks with, so it's not a...
I mean, even on the highest, you're looking at 52,000 gallons. And that's the summer.
There's no way of knowing, like, when that usage was during the time. It was just...
And if we had responded on Friday or Saturday, but again, they're saying it didn't contribute to that.
Has anybody taken a reading lately?
9/21.
No, because I noticed the 9,
Zero.
it's only one day after the
Yeah.
incident, so that doesn't tell us anything, but I'll have to go up and take a reading.
Alan, what you got telling you?
Well, you know, in light of everything, I'm speechless. Could we come up with a number that would be suitable to both parties, say $400?
Probably. I understand that it's a
Yeah.
confusing thing.
Yeah, and both sides, you
Yeah,
know? So, in all fairness, I for one hate to write them off, but in this case, you know, we're a party to it, and so 400.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, because I just don't know how much we contributed to it, and, you know, the call came in Friday, and again, they're saying that it didn't contribute to the meter, but it just seems like there's too many things going on here that...
So, regardless, you know.
Says he left the head. That's what I'm just like going up through the readings, right? Because he left meter head, replaced base, gave me meter number. You know, so I'm like 340, 362. With the old head?
That he didn't change.
Left meter head, replaced meter
If
base.
he didn't change, right, if it's the original head, we can get it off.
Is that me coder?
It should be. It should be because it was installed. 17.
Right, because like this
Right,
is where you
that's
changed it
right, I know,
out,
that's-
8.2, right?
Yeah.
So that was the read when he changed to 362,
Yeah,
which is 22 over
right,
that,
but the
right?
question is, what was in there originally? And that's right on the cusp of when we're switching out to e-coder. Let me
Oh, the meter
quickly, let me
tech, yeah.
quickly check on that. It's, Pennsylvania, just quickly check. That might change everything.
So Dan, you look at the read? 'Cause
Yeah, I'm looking at the read.
It goes, I mean, it jumps from 4,000 on 6/27/18 up to 56,000 4 months later, and then it just goes up.
Yeah, and I guess my thought, the 388,000 gallon read
That's not making any sense.
is only 22,000 gallons over the prior,
Right.
Yeah.
and I'm wondering if it might have been an accounting thing where we thought that maybe the head was changed, but it wasn't changed, so let's see what,
Yeah.
My head hurts. I'm just trying to be fair. I mean, you know, I mean, it's-
And you think you got called.
You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking like if we
Yeah.
thought, because the current read was 362, and then it was 388.
Right, but a whole month and a half ago.
Right, but we're billing them for 388,000 gallons.
Right,
Yeah.
so that happened after we changed it from 82 to when we got it on 928.
One
Right,
day.
Because the
But-
old one had the 22,000 on it.
But the meter head wasn't changed, right? So that head, the reading, it wouldn't have been 0 to 388. Right? Like if you just changed the freeze plate.
Because.
You know, when we read it again on 928, we wouldn't have been starting from 0 to get
Right,
388,000 gallons.
right, the start read.
Start read.
Right, because we're not, it wasn't a full change out.
So this is the start read, and this is the,
If it was a full meter, this will be 0.
right.
So that's why it's not 0. Because, see here, because we changed out in 18 to put a bigger antenna on or something, so that would completely zero it out. This was not a full change out, so it has start read.
Right, and I think
So that's why
we're
the
saying that
replace
there's
usage-
300,000, we're saying the usage was 388,000 gallons.
When we took the reading, yes, that's what we got on 928.
But the start read was 362. You know what I'm saying? So I think,
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
so I don't think that,
There might be something else going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
22,000
Well,
gallons and,
what we could do is, I can go back into the system to actually check the start read, and we can also data log.
yeah,
That way we confirm both.
yeah.
All right, so. Might be a lot more simple than we think.
simple?
Yeah.
Might be.
It might be a complete, yeah,
Okay.
game changer.
So
We need to,
do you want to break that down for us? What just happened?
I would recommend postponing
Okay.
any decision on this
Okay.
until we can get and look into the data log
Okay.
and just verify that that's accurate.
Okay.
Great.
Sandy?
I'd just like to ask when you called on that Friday, or whoever called, so we can follow it up, because we do have a 24/7 service for emergencies. So it would be nice to find out what happened. Why didn't somebody go out there?
I asked the guy this morning whether he took me around over this Friday night or Saturday morning.
But it was the Friday or Saturday before we went out on Monday, so I can backtrack it to that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just curious why, because our guys are good about, they respond
Right, that's why-
quickly to
Yeah,
emergencies.
good.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
unlike them
Yeah.
not to have gone out and shut it off.
When he said that when he spoke to somebody, I think it was on Monday, they said that they appreciated the call because they were trying to find a leak in the neighborhood.
Okay. We'll track it down to the technician that might have, thought he was going to a water main break versus a water service.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
So we're going to postpone this until we get more information on it. So we'll let you know, obviously, so you can come back and be here for another round of discussions.
I think you guys can probably handle it. Thank you very much for your time.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, FY22 Q1 Water Department usage.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the total amount of $2,185.19 as presented.
Second,
Second?
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
FY22 Q1 internal adjustments.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the $2,957.24 for internal adjustment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
FY '22 first quarter water budget update.
I haven't had a chance to look at
Yep,
it.
no, I was just actually reviewing it this morning. Everything, you know, this is our first quarter of the new fiscal year, so we're in alignment with where we should be at the end of, you know, the first quarter.
One thing you will see is in the transfer in is that must be from the special town meeting under salaries and wages.
Yeah, that must be for the cost of living increases. There was retroactive pay for the water union and personnel bylaw, 2% COLA. So that was paid last week. What else? Yeah, everything is in alignment. I just like to do this quarterly so you, the board has a chance to look at our budget, where everything's at, and if you have any questions too about expenditures or line items. I did also look, because I haven't updated you guys in a while about collections, and I was just looking at quarter one billing. We just billed and the due date was November 8th, which is almost 80% paid already. So, yeah. We have a good turnaround time with receivables, and, you know, it's reflective on the consistency of, you know, the bills, the due date, and then Wellesley is on it to make sure everybody gets a reminder notice and everybody gets a couple more weeks.
So, just looking at the big line, the line for water rates. So we've got over half of our revenue in, well, that's right, summertime. But even though with all that rain, I saw the reports at the end that it was a low pumping. And I understand that everything is budgeted conservatively.
Right.
But that's still pretty amazing with the low pumping, to have 58% of our revenue in to make us in good shape.
Absolutely. And quarter four of FY '21, that's the,
Another good one.
right, we
Yeah.
bill that in July, but it's actually usage through June 30th.
Right.
So the recording of that, it's sort
Yeah.
of billed in one fiscal year, but the collections
Right.
are in the next fiscal
Allowed
year.
for that
So
30-day
that
business.
is
Yeah.
some of that collection.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
We're worried about all that rain. Great.
And the water budget report is followed just by an update on the water articles within our budget. That includes a prior year's bill that was approved, so we paid a prior year's bill. And we have funding still available for the T1 generator.
Yeah.
And we still have a little bit of money left in the Pleasant Lake tank article. We have 68, 65, or no, sorry,
6,800.
yeah. The next for the water department are the capital articles. The water capital articles are the new ones based on town meeting. And we've just started spending from a couple of those. The new water source we've been paying for engineering services, as well as the Route 28 water tank, or no, Route 28 water main.
Remind me
Design.
what the Route 28 water main water issue is?
Yeah, so that was for the design for the water main replacement for 28 from Lower County to the Dennistown line.
Okay.
And those are the 1930s original water
Okay.
mains.
So at the special town meeting a month ago, we we voted additional money, that was for the actual putting the dry pipe in?
That's to do the design of sewer.
Okay, all right. Thanks. Not that this is complicated or anything.
Cindy, can we just back up for a second and go back to the water articles?
Yep.
So for the prior year, the main generator, the 65,000, have we not?
Yes, and I was trying to recall if I had talked about this at the last meeting or not. I just recently made contact with this company, C-Power. They have a contract through Combis, the OSD kind of state procurement site. They actually work to do, basically, it's a demand response contract. So if the electric grid is stressed, if we enroll in this program, we can receive revenue for having the generators on standby, and we can also be paid to run those generators during times where the electrical grid is stressed, so we can take our load off of the system. So I just got in contact with them the end of last month. I've given them our full generator database. One of the conditions is the generators have to be to a certain, I don't know, it's like tier 2 emission standard in order to be eligible to be in that program. So I'm working with them to try to spec generators and get ourselves in a position that we could take advantage of that, because it could be an additional revenue source just by having the generator on standby.
That's great.
So there's the T1 generator and the Station 8 generator, both of the funding approved, but haven't taken action on them yet. Partially because I just haven't had a ton of time. I've been prioritizing other things, and now once we got into it, this seems like a decent.
Great.
All right.
While we're kind of on that section, you know, the long-awaited infrastructure bill, should we be taking some action in relation to, what we talked about, one of the things to do would be the, was it the painting of the Pleasant Lake tank, or to move it up, or, I mean, obviously, we should probably wait till we read the bill, you know, to see what's in it.
Right.
But other than that, should we be, you said we could do that with department funds, the design of that, so should we be moving on that right now, once we read the bill?
I would say we should move on any and all,
Right.
capital projects that we can fit into some, you know, component of that bill.
Right.
I know that some of the bill is for things that, for better or worse, we're not dealing with. We are fortunate not to have PFAS in the water.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna be eligible for that, you know, whatever million was set aside for that. Lead service line replacement, things like that, still kind of coming out of what happened in Flint. So there's funding for lead service replacement, which we're not, you know, aren't gonna be able to. So
Thank God.
it's determining what buckets are left that our projects fit into, but absolutely.
I'm wondering if we should, once the bill is out, I mean, maybe the town's doing it, but have Copeland and Page or whoever look at the bill and take the guesswork out of it and give them a copy of our capital plan and say, tell us what's in here, and just, rather than wait for the information to dribble down. Just a thought, you and Joe can talk it over, but, you know, rather than at least eliminate the things that definitely aren't gonna be covered.
Yeah, well, you know, for me, I look at the Route 28 main, which is the beginning of the system, and from either end, from Dennisport to Chatham, I mean, there's all kinds of sub-sized, different materials, as well as 1936, 37, 38, 39 mains in there. I mean, the whole thing. So if we could get any of that main replaced under these programs, you know, I'm all for it. I mean, that's money that could be well spent elsewhere in the system, rather than, you know, paying millions,
Right.
you know, over the next few years. No, go ahead.
So, you know, I haven't noticed like the I lost my word for it, the capital committee has...
State Controller Committee?
Right,
DLS?
no, capital.
Oh, okay, capital.
Yeah. I haven't noticed the meeting, but is the agenda still that you turn in your requests in the fall? Where I'm going is that I'm wondering if the agenda, can't be passed, because I haven't heard the Board of Selectmen talk about them, but I wonder if we can add a bunch more projects on. What I'm saying is, if they're on there, it's easy to say, well, we want to move them from 28 to 22, but if they're not on there at all, everybody will be like, you know, my little kittens trying to get their food, you know, would be a step ahead to all the other dreamers.
Yes, so, and that was, I was planning on getting in.
Okay, we can wait till we get there, I just,
Is that the next?
yeah.
Capital? Yeah.
Yeah, no, we can wait till we get there, and you know where I'm going anyway.
Yeah, okay.
What I have is pretty quick anyway.
Yeah.
But to get to where the next agenda item. Moving back to the water articles, not the capital
Yeah.
articles, but the water articles. I noticed when I printed this report, because Munis abbreviates everything, you can't see what the article really is. So I did a little clip and snip there.
Oh, that's good.
But I transposed
Okay.
it. I
see.
transposed it. So
Yeah.
the first one is actually the Pleasant Lake Tank article, which we have fully expended. We paid out the last payment, $86,250. There's no money left in the Pleasant Lake Tank article. The next is the T1 generator, $65,000, which Dan already discussed. The last article is prior year's bill of $6,865, and I've just processed payment, an invoice for that. So, sorry about that, I didn't catch it, but trying to give you guys descriptions so you can see what the article names are.
Yeah, thank you.
Dan, you good?
And the wastewater budget, I'm still, you know, becoming familiar with too. I've provided a first quarter wastewater budget report and the wastewater capital articles.
Okay. So I see that you, what are you doing? You causing trouble? I see on the capital articles that you've added the ones from Colebrook, see, he's got me going, from the special town meeting on the capital articles on wastewater.
Yes.
So, nice to see them in print.
Our finance director is right on top of things, so
Yeah.
it is great to,
Well, I didn't know if they were all gonna pass, so.
right.
You know, and I'll say it publicly too, besides Dan, I thought that Carol Ridley did us a lot of favors too. She was really wonderful at town meeting, I thought, so. Thanks to her and the Pleasant Bay Association.
All right, Sandy, the water liens?
Yes, the water liens are within your packet. Past practice has been to approve the current amount not to exceed, because this amount is only going to go down as the delinquent notices are mailed, and we anticipate, right now it's at $16,414.28. There's always people that are going to pay over the next few weeks, so that will be reduced. But in order for us to move forward with the process, it needs to go on the Board of Assessors agenda, and they need it, I just got the deadline Monday the 22nd, so if you approve it, we can keep moving and pass it over to the assessing department.
So Sandy, when I'm looking at this, there's a lot of, like under the owner of record,
Yep,
that whole column all the way down is just like symbols.
wingdings, yes. I did that just for the sake of privacy.
Okay, that's right.
Someone
Alright.
is just, you
Okay.
know, trying to, this is a public, you know,
Right.
packet and it is not private information.
All right.
But at the same time,
And what do you call them?
Wingdings.
Wingdings.
The font.
That's a gadget.
Yeah.
That's what you really call winning.
Professional, yeah.
And dingbats, there's also dingbats too.
Oh, I know some dingbats. All right. So, not you, I'm sorry? I'm like, nobody else is saying anything. I was like, anybody else see this or just me? I'm like, I can't read this. That's what I thought it was, I just wanted
Yeah,
clarification.
no, absolutely.
I'm good for the laugh. So I need a motion that, Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we move that unpaid water bills to the Board of Assessors in the amount of $16,414.28.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now, Noreen, capital budget.
Okay. That's like, yeah.
And just to
So-
go back a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just, thank you. Just to go back, just to go back a little bit. When we were a three-person board, the board at that time, and I can't remember if we talked about this already, but at that time, the board took a vote in a position that the only way the capital plan could be changed or altered is by a unanimous vote, not a majority vote. That way it gives us, each one of us, the authority or the leeway to, make a significant impact on the capital plan. So any amendments or changes to a capital plan is by a unanimous vote, just so I understand.
Now can I ask a question?
Okay, I can hold you back, so go ahead.
Thank you. So this capital plan that's listed here, FY '23 to FY '31,
Yes.
am I wrong in saying this is for water side department projects only? So should we have a separate list for wastewater at this point?
So I would say at this point, no, only because the Board of Selectmen has
Right.
retained the implementation of the CWMP. So until we have
Okay. Well,
Capital
that's what I thought
for it,
was
yeah,
gonna say,
sewer.
yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah.
The only
that makes
thing we
sense.
have there is what to do with the givers.
Yeah. So the only other thing I would have would be, the discussion of whether it's worth asking Dan in his spare time, that he has so much of, to add on some water department capital projects and get unanimous votes on them, just to see if they could be there, so we could move them up if the new infrastructure money will pay for any of them. Like, for instance, Allen's Route 28.
You're gonna just,
Yeah.
we can discuss this right now, right?
Yeah.
I said, why don't you go ahead, why don't you do your presentation, then we'll go from there.
All right, so there's a couple, well, I guess to start, these forms, that dated September 6, 2019, those were the last capital forms that were really submitted prior to the pandemic. I did submit an updated capital form last year for the Route 28 water main, which is reflected on the second page. But these items in this packet dated this September 19 is the items that were on the board's unanimously supported capital plan. I have included this spreadsheet in the packet that does differ slightly than the capital plan we've submitted previously. I can go into some of those changes. So the biggest changes are pushing off the new well construction and the Route 128 water main replacement until fiscal year '24. I just think realistically, we don't have the ability to get those two projects completely designed and bid prior to May. I know it's a goal of the town to make sure we bring bid numbers to town meeting, so we're not having to go back and ask for more money. So just where we're not going to be there with the design, I've shifted those out to FY '24. The vehicle replacement identified for fiscal year '23 does differ from the 2019 submission. We were proposing to replace the 2008 F-250 and the 2011 Ranger. I have proposed that we keep the Ranger and replace the 2013 Taurus that I'm presently driving. The Ranger, as of today, has, I think, 125,000 miles, and to be blunt, really never should have been purchased for the department because it's not sized appropriately to do really anything. The Taurus does have 143,000 miles, so those are the two that we'll be proposing to replace this year. We'll be proposing to replace those with two F-150s.
Dan, why 150 and not a 250?
Why one? So one of those is proposed to go into treatment, so
Okay.
we have a 150 in there now. And then we had talked about doing a 150 for myself and replacing the cruiser. You know, something that I can actually throw a gate wrench in.
Would those vehicles be used for plowing as well, or just the heavier vehicles?
Just the heavier ones these will.
Right.
Moving on, I met with Steve and Jay yesterday just to talk about vehicles in their place in the capital plan. They also recommended incorporating the backhoe replacement in. As much as I would love to do it sooner, I don't know that we can stomach it with the big projects coming in FY24, so I did place that in FY25. The backhoe we have currently is from 1998. It's getting older. Also have the Pleasant Lake tank that stayed in FY25. FY25 also contained two vehicle replacements. That didn't change. And those are the changes. On the out year, we do have the relocate HWD for FY28, and once we get out to FY30 and 31, we're getting a little speculative.
Noreen?
Thank you, Gary. So I'm wondering, you know, because I listen to Alan all the time, and the FY26 of the pipe discontinuity upgrade, I'm wondering if you should submit, even if they aren't taking them anymore, an amended amount just to make it more.
And I forgot one part of the discussion. Also in the packet is a new version of the capital project request form.
Okay.
So once the board endorses the next 5 years, because the plan is town-wise went from a 7-year to a 5-year plan with the charter change. I'll be completing all of, you know, infilling sheets and the new template with the board's plan.
Dan, just to go back to the new source exploration.
Yep.
So I don't see it on your new spreadsheet. This is what we have left over.
On this,
I don't see it on this.
FY24 in the middle there. New well
construction, okay. Now I see it.
So, I mean, back to the discontinuity one, do people think that's a reasonable thing to do, to just bump it up?
What was that?
We have, in FY26, we have 1.5 million placed for discontinuity upgrade, and I'm wondering if we should bump that amount up to say 3 million in hopes that part of that project might be covered by the infrastructure bill.
That's.
Yeah, I can always go down.
Yep. if we wanted to cause less trouble, I suppose we could make it a separate one, like pipe discontinuity phase 1 and pipe discontinuity phase 2.
There is phases.
Yeah, okay, but there always are. And,
There's a fair amount of things.
That way it would be clear that if we, for some reason, didn't get any of that money for that particular issue, we could just go back to the original 1.5 without the town saying, you know, what happened? Was it an underestimate or an overestimate or something like that?
Yeah, I have, would it be beneficial for me to go through, you know, we've been looking at kind of 7 and 10-year blocks and prioritizing. To bring this back, I can go through our master plan and identify a couple other items that we haven't been able to prioritize for the board's consideration to put into the plan.
You think it would be helpful?
Well, I think we could you know, could be a little bit more specific on, you know, some of the other projects. We have some, you know, asbestos pipe remove and replace. There's 100,000 linear feet of 2-inch water main in town, as well as discontinuity in areas. You know, so we could potentially take a couple different projects through a couple different kind of categories.
I mean, you know, anything, even being new to this, anything that helps improve the basic water system
You know,
is thrilling.
Yeah, I like that idea of the asbestos and the 2-inch, a lot of 2-inch out there. I can even remember those town meetings, and the cheap voters.
Putting 2-inch.
Yeah, they didn't have enough houses on that street. But, yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, that 2-inch should be enough, at least for fire protection, 6-inch. And the asbestos, definitely, Cross Street, Route 28, all that asbestos, you know, to get away from that. Nobody wants to even get near the trench when they open it up, you know. I was over there, had a section of Cross Street open. I was over there, and Howard's guys were doing it. They didn't even want to get out of the hole, you know. But anyway, yeah. So I think that's all good stuff.
I mean, personally, if you, I don't know what year between the 7 years and the 5 years they're doing now, but if we put in 4 more projects, you know, for FY, whatever it turns out to be 30 or whatever, nobody's gonna care if we get the free money, if we do an FY 30 and FY 23, you know, but to have it on the list, I think would be helpful.
Whatever sticks.
Yeah, you guys put it all over.
So Dan, this is the
No, I really like your thinking. I mean,
Yeah.
be prepared.
Yeah,
If that opportunity, I mean, we haven't had that opportunity.
right.
But by God, we should be ready.
This is
to go.
it. This is,
Yeah.
yeah, we've
We should
been,
have our act together.
right.
Yeah.
That shovels.
Yeah.
You know, I think doing that, and I'm just thinking about you know, when we have to go to present to
Right.
capital outlay and FinCom, you know, if we asterisk or, you know, kind of denote the ones that we're placing on for potential
Right,
subject to available funding,
Yeah.
it may prevent them
Yeah.
from digging their heels in. We're saying, look, we're really trying to be
Right.
strategic with monies that might be available and get these in the line.
for years, people have been putting things in saying pending grant such and such, or pending this, we can put them all pending, infrastructure money, and then if they drop away, nobody's gonna care about the asbestos or anything else,
Yeah, well, you
except for
know,
you.
the way the department is set up now, I mean, pretty much anything you do, I mean, you're gonna pay for out of the
Yeah.
department. And if we should be so
Right.
lucky to have a gift or a windfall, you know,
And I'd love to get it on paper. It just seems like it'll put us a step ahead of people,
yeah.
because everybody will be, you know, rightfully grabbing for, you know, whatever they can, so.
And that was one of the things that Joe did, you know, when he introduced the new form, is basically saying, this 5-year plan, you know, put in what you need. It doesn't necessarily have to be the
Right.
7-year plan that was there previously, because this is being done under the new charter change, this is the 5-year plan, this is what we're implementing.
Is there a committee?
They're behind right now,
Okay.
because, COVID's special
Yeah.
town meeting. He was looking to have the capital forms into him next week. Following this meeting, I'll reach out to him if I can just give him, like, the initial FY '23 that he's gonna be focusing
Right.
in short-term, so that we can have time to populate the out years with
Right.
other projects, and let him know that that's the plan. I can submit FY '23 and bring back
Yeah.
other items for next meeting.
Wouldn't it be great? I mean, I'm sure we're all thinking the same thing, but that would just be
Yeah.
so wonderful, not to mention phase 3 and,
No.
Anything
well.
else for capital plan?
No.
So I'd like to take a vote to approve the capital plan as presented today, FY '23 to FY '31.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we approve the proposed capital plan for the fiscal years 23 through 31.
Is there a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I must say, I did scan this. Could you explain again how the meter deduct works?
When it
Oh,
comes
I'm
to...
sorry, I just automatically jumped to the next.
Noreen, questions?
Thank you, Gary.
My pleasure. I know my place. No, go ahead.
I already did.
All right, so the primary meter, in the basement, right, that you have.
Yes.
If you were on sewer, you would, after your meter, cut a T into the plumbing and add a second meter that would feed all your outdoor fixtures and usage. When we go and do the meter reading, we would
Okay.
read both, and your sewer bill would be your master meter minus the irrigation meter.
Okay, boy,
Plus user fees.
that sounds so simple. Every other time I've heard it explained, it sounded crazy.
Where's it been?
I don't know. I was thinking, what? John gets very technical. I think I've been listening to John too much.
Oh, Chatham does it different.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I have to tee it in.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
weird.
I think it was that I didn't have irrigation
hard.
before, so I just wasn't even paying attention, so.
To tee 'em in.
Oh, I'm gonna disconnect everything and, this is the way you guys do it, it's gonna be much easier.
Good. I like the sound of that from a plumber. That's good.
What I want to know is how you're going to handle the well water.
Yeah, I put an asterisk next to that, to go back to that. Noreen jumped the gun.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just, just an agenda, it's fine. Nothing. All right, so are we doing the meters right now, or are we doing, let's just finish this. We're on this.
All right,
Let's just finish.
finish meters while we're on it, yeah. Then we'll jump back to well water. So, I can't recall if we had the draft policy before the board previously. If we did, it's changed completely. If we didn't, this is the new one. So, we did discuss it at one point, and John informed us how it's all the plumber's problem, not the water department's job. So, looking at some surrounding communities, I talked to Tom, the plumbing inspector. We felt that this would be a much more streamlined and easy process for everyone involved. So what we're proposing as a policy would, if you as the homeowner are looking to get an irrigation sewer deduct meter, you would contact the plumber, they would pull the plumbing permit, they would come down, fill out a sewer deduct meter application. We would provide the meter to the plumber who's performing the work. At that point, we would apply a bill charge to the account and bill the customer for the irrigation meter. The plumber would then go in, install this irrigation deduct meter. Upon receiving the application, we would enroll that property in the backflow testing program, so they would be contacted, next season by our backflow testing contractor to test the device at the property. And it's as simple as that.
Maureen?
What's the backflow testing fee now, approximately?
$70.
Okay.
What are we paying for?
Is it 40 text that we pay water safety?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's been a while, honestly. I believe it is 40.
Yeah.
So we're making something on it?
Yeah.
Okay, good, that's all I want.
So the meter is charged to the customer, but on their bill?
Yeah. Or is it miscellaneous invoice? Or-
Yeah.
Just for our own information, what would the meter cost, about 300 or?
$378, I think, rather.
Is that
A 5/8
So if they wanted a larger meter,
on larger.
How much again for the meter?
Actually, it's even more now.
It is more than
That was at $400.
Excuse me,
I feel
it's
like
about
it's-
410 or somewhere around there. Yeah, I'm sorry, because the changes.
Yeah.
The rates just increased, so. Everything's going up.
Yep.
That's a private.
question.
And I have a question for you, about how much does it take to install it, your bill?
It depends on what you want, it depends, if you want to separate the outside, are they gonna be able to put the outside water?
I would say anything not subject, that
Yeah.
doesn't commit flow to the
Right.
wastewater system
Right.
can be on.
Probably, it all depends on what they want, how far they want to go. And the amount that, sometimes you're gonna, with the water meters here and your backflows across the cellar,
Right?
the amount of pipe
Right.
to that backflow.
If it was a job that you went in and said, oh, great, this is wonderful, what would you charge?
Probably about $600.
Wow, okay.
Lot to it,
Ivy?
lot to it.
Yeah. So the person that wants to do this is gonna pay about $1,500 to $2,000 plus an annual fee. So that's what they have to figure out when they're deciding how much irrigation they use. If it pays for it, which is a lot, Thank you.
Yeah, I'd say 1,000 on the low end.
Yeah, on the low end.
And to expand on what John was saying, you think about putting in the irrigation meter and you only run one plumbing line out to your irrigation system is going to be a lot more simple of a conversion as opposed to running your irrigation plus every hose bib, outside spigot on your house, plus your outdoor shower is going to be a lot more connections to reroute. So it's going to be more costly, right? So that's
Right.
how far they want to
Well, I
take
mean,
it.
I would hope most people would think, I only take a shower once a week and why bother with that, just get it on the
Right.
irrigation, but,
Right.
what do I know?
Put a
You can put the
nozzle
outside
on your
shower
house
too.
rather than
As
down
long
the
as it's not
street.
plumbed back in.
How are you gonna get the hot, though? That's gonna be tricky. You have to have a separate water heater for
Why? Then,
that. Yeah.
Then go dirty, I guess.
Yeah.
that's the plumbing department. so-
I know.
Yeah,
All right.
thank God.
Are we all set on that? All right, sewer rates for customers on well water.
So right now, we don't have a clear determination on how we're gonna handle sewer customers on well water. There's really two options couple options that we could explore. The, I guess, easiest option, in my opinion, would be to apply the base rate to customers with wells, instead of, it's either charge them a fixed fee or require them to cut in a water meter inside their property for us to then read and generate a sewer bill off of. In my opinion, that option's a little intrusive, kind of forcing that cost on someone so that we can send you a bill. and where the sewer rates include the tier 1 usage, which would be kind of generic domestic usage. That's why I was at least thinking charging well customers the base rate would be reasonable, because that would cover the base plus, typical usage. Another option would be that the board could establish a separate base rate for well customers, maybe that's slightly higher, maybe it's $100 per quarter instead of $75. Or we adopt a regulation requiring well customers to install a water meter that we would then read to generate the sewer bill.
What's Chatham doing?
I'm not sure. I'll have to ask. I don't know. I haven't had that conversation with them.
Yeah.
I feel like they might cut in a meter, but you have
Yeah.
I don't know.
experience over there?
I don't know.
Seems to me I've heard that, but I'm not sure.
So if it was on the base rate, so you're saying, say it again, you're just
So
estimating?
Noreen owns property, has a well,
Right.
and now you're connecting to the sewer system.
Yeah.
As an option would be to just simply assess your property with a base rate of $75 per quarter.
I see.
Because in order to capture usage, we have to make you
Right.
install a meter, and if you
Yeah.
install that meter, are you gonna segregate off all your outdoor spigots plus your irrigation?
Right, right.
It could be a costly endeavor that we're putting on someone just so we can read a meter to send them a bill. And I think if the board, I think either way it was going to require either a rate hearing or a regulation hearing, because it's not captured within those two documents right now. So we don't need a decision today,
Good.
but, just something to consider. I'm sure as wastewater comes on board, there are already some other regulation things that I've been talking with the health department on that may need to be changed, so we're likely going to be needing to do a regulation hearing at some point in the near future. So at that point, we could consider taking action on this topic too.
Do they have a well? Does it then, the water goes into their house, does it then go out into a septic tank right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm trying to think of what their benefit would be. Their benefit is they can get rid of their septic system.
Well, it's not so much, they're mandated to connect.
Right.
So, anyone who's in phase 2 on well water, from a benefit standpoint, you're saying what's the benefit to connecting to the sewer, or?
Yeah, and I didn't mean like they would say, no, we're not gonna connect. I just mean back in, years ago when we were talking about wastewater issues, this was one we didn't go near, and so, we always tried to think of the benefit and the hurt to every person in whatever situation they were in, and I'm just trying to visualize what benefit it would be to somebody who happens to be on water.
Mhm.
The only benefit that I can think of is that they could get rid of their septic system.
And they would be required to connect
Right.
through Title V, because Title V regulations state if there's sewer available, you gotta connect.
Yeah. And if they wanted then to decide to go on municipal water, that would be possible, and that would go through its normal channels, some
Yeah.
kind of installation and project setup and.
Yeah, and they could do that today,
Right,
a year ago, or a year
Right.
in the future,
yeah. No, I was just thinking even from the terms of their property, some of them might want to do it all at once, so that when they sell it or whatever else, it's, one unit, I don't know.
I mean, municipal water quality, is treated, filtered,
Right,
the pH is neutral, it's not the same with well water.
yeah.
Um,
Well, a lot of times too, I think it's, certain people are more knowledgeable about wells and things like that, and, some newer owners, they wouldn't have a clue what to do with a well.
Power goes out, you don't have a generator,
Right.
you don't have water.
Yeah, you know.
Some places don't have the mains down the road though.
Right.
So,
Oh, okay, yeah, well, can't help that. Okay,
Not too many though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else, Ken?
On that note.
Superintendent's report?
All right. I'll try to go quick. So, crew's been continuing the work on the conduit project out back. They're almost to the 39 tank, if not there. I know they were almost there at the end of last week.
I think they're across the road.
Once we're done with that, we're going to look to move over to P Lake Tank to do that final connection. We, let's see, had a preliminary kickoff meeting with the Mass DOT engineering subcontractor that is doing the design from the Dennistown line to the Herring River Bridge. We were able to get the survey from that firm, which is going to save us a couple bucks on the Route 28 projects that we're doing. So that's good. We're going to have another meeting in the near future with MassDOT themselves to discuss logistics of incorporating our project in and the best way to do that. Well 10, as of last week, they've installed test wells at the 3 sites that we're looking at. They're evaluating and looking to develop geological cross sections. There's an upper formation and a lower formation. So they're going to do pump tests to see where they can get the water, how much water we can get. They're looking to come back next month to do the test pumping. In addition, they're trying to get a waiver, which should save some money, on some additional prolonged pump testing, because there's been previous pump tests done at that site for the well 10 that we have there now and other explorations that we've done. We may be able to get a waiver on some of the other requirements that could save us a couple bucks. The town was approached, moving on, the town was approached by Silent Springs. Ultimately, someone had called Town Hall looking to see if they could set up a table at Town Hall to collect private well water samples to test for. I haven't been able to get in contact with the lady yet. I called, voicemail was full, didn't answer. But before I reached back out to her, they were looking to see if they could set up a table to test private water. Town Hall wasn't intending on allowing it at the Town Hall parking lot, so I wanted to see if the board would have any issue with us allowing them to set up a table here to accept well water for miscellaneous testing.
I definitely wouldn't be opposed. I'm always curious as to what's down there now.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how many people are going to put that information up there, but,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd rather.
if it's there, we want to know,
Yeah.
right? So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, on the condition that we get to know, we get to see the test too.
Yeah.
And it's curious to me, I don't know if it's because of the trouble Chatham has been having recently, but, you know, 20, 30 years ago, we heard about this project and issue pretty much, well, it seemed like all the time. But in the last few months, I've had so many people talk to me about the water quality and the breast cancer surveys and all of those things. I was like, boy, that's really old information. You're really just hearing about that now. And so something has triggered that. So I would want the information to be there for people so that they wouldn't make assumptions, you know, because a lot of times they read about Chatham and they think it's us too.
Right.
Yeah, well, you know, if you have a private well, you know, you gotta take it to some lab somewhere
Right.
in order to get a test. Now with PFAs and all that stuff out there, you know, it's nice to know on what part of town,
Right.
especially on a private well.
One thing that I will just offer with respect to allowing people to bring in samples of water is it does matter how you take the sample, and it does matter
Yeah.
what you're sampling for, right? So if they're going to be testing for PFAS and someone, you know, has, I don't know, non-stick waterproof clothes on, you know, and doesn't take the sample properly, it could result in a false positive, which could, you know, cause headaches.
Well, there must be some kind of packet or information that they'll send out to people the proper way to get this sample.
I am gonna, again, I've tried to I'm gonna have to
Right.
get, that information, but, it's something that, like, our guys are trained to do, right? And
Right.
it's, it's not as simple as taking opening the tap.
Well, don't you think that should be part of Silent Spring's job? They're
Should
trying to
be.
do this, and then to instruct those that are taking samples the right way.
They should,
I,
and I don't, but,
I mean, to move forward with it, I think we should just mandate that.
yeah,
Yeah, that they make sure they're educating those folks in how to get a correct
proper
sample.
sample.
So it's not our headache.
Right, because that's, I guess, my biggest potential concern is, if, like lead and copper sampling, for example, right? Those are supposed to be first draw samples. You're not supposed to run the water before you fill the bottle, right out of the tap into the sample bottle. If you don't, then you're not gonna get an accurate sample. If there's Teflon tape somewhere, on a fitting, that could throw you for PFAS, or, a number of things. So it just depends on what they're looking to test for. If they're looking to test for, PFAS, as long as the language that they're supports proper testing protocols, then.
When you see the packet or whatever information they have, I wonder if there's some kind of a disclaimer that would be appropriate, that would say if they're going to be here, something like the Harwich Water Department, has certain standards or whatever, and we are not responsible for results taken through this, I don't know, just...
So I'll reach out to them, to the woman again, and reconnect and
Right.
try to get some more information on what they're
Yeah.
proposing to do. I think the consensus is, we want to know what's in the water, we're interested, but we want to make sure that all the boxes are checked.
Yeah, good, yeah. Yeah, we don't need any headaches.
All right, so we have just a progress update on the land acquisition for the parcels out back on Chatham Road. We received the order of taking documentation and the advertising language and whatnot from Copeland and Page. I still need to follow up with the county regarding how we're going to get the funds from them to us. In the meantime, we also found out that we can offset the appraised value of those parcels by the amount in back taxes. So that's going to lower the amount that we have to put in escrow in case someone claims ownership to the property. And we also are still waiting on the survey to be done. When we signed the PO to get the survey done, they said October. We're now November and they haven't been out yet. I did reach out to them a couple weeks ago, and I'll have to check my junk mail because I haven't seen a response yet. I am planning on bringing the CWMP revision contract and the Route 28 sewer design contract to the selectmen on September 22nd. And we've...
September 22nd or November 22nd?
November 22nd, thank you. And we have a couple placeholder days for our kind of CWMP revision kickoff meeting. Evening, either Tuesday evening, December 7th, or Tuesday evening, December 14th. Placeholders for right now.
December 2nd and what?
7th and 14th.
7th and 14th.
Yeah. I've asked GHD to wait on bringing forward the design article for the Round Cove and Pleasant Bay and East Harwich until we get at least enough information in from the CWMP revisions with respect to evaluating other technologies before we commit to designing the collection system.
I wouldn't be in favor of that. That's
Not
not a
too long,
surprise,
but-
Well, I just wouldn't be, the things that were said at town meeting, I felt very strongly about, and I don't think there's any chance, any revision of the CWMP is going to influence the Phase 3 area. Any use of IAs is going to be at least 3 or 4 years from now, it's not gonna replace, well, you know, I'm preaching to the choir. But, I mean.
I'm trying to make good on our
I'm
promises.
disappointed, you know, to hear that, let me
Yeah.
say that. I was gonna ask you, if, you know, this is so hard, because it's trying to keep the wastewater commissioner role separate from the interested in wastewater role, and, you know, I don't know what GHD has for a timeline to begin with, so I hope at some point GHD will give us a timeline on that design project.
For the East Harwich.
I'm gonna call it Phase 3. It's simpler for
Yeah.
me, yeah.
So I don't, and I guess to talk it out, I agree with you in that I don't believe there's gonna be a massive change in technology that's proposed out there. I don't see it. That said, the town, you know, through this process,
Yeah.
said that we would take a look at that before we get going down that road.
When did the town say we would take a
Well-
look at that before we got going down the road?
I guess maybe we didn't.
We didn't, we
You
voted.
know,
All right.
I have to tell you, the Alliance, Brewster has 314 parcels that need to be sewered to conform to the nitrogen loading in Pleasant Bay. Well, they've been looking at it, so they have, there's a 40, somewhere between 40 and 44,000 to buy a system.
Nitro?
Huh?
IA?
Yeah, IA system. It's anywhere from $2,000 to $2,800 a year until that thing has proven itself. And then you have to have annual
Right.
services and all that. That's crazy.
I agree.
And why would you not hook in to the regular sewer? You just pay your monthly bill and you're done.
Well, if I can offer one potential avenue, well, not,
Yeah.
and I don't believe IAs are the solution to solve Round Cove and Pleasant Bay, but there might be a place for them at the low-lying property that would otherwise, you know, require a
Right.
pump station for 4 houses or something. So,
Right.
you know, just to explore that extent.
Right.
So-
But would
so-
you hold up a project for 4 houses?
I'm not planning on.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to get is December 7th, right?
Right,
We can air out the dirty laundry,
okay.
get and I would say in
Okay.
short order after that would be bringing,
You know, just in case I'm not at one of those meetings, what I'm really trying to say is, I'm more interested in getting the design done, so, and that's why I would like to see a timeline at some point, whether it's done through a dedicated meeting, not necessarily here.
Yeah.
Because I'm more interested in going for the 30 million for infrastructure. So I don't care, and, you know, I don't care who hears it. I don't care about any IA possibilities for Phase 3 within the next 5 years, if it's gonna stall us even by 2 or 3 months for a chance from getting $35 million. So, I mean, it will go the way it goes, but I think the town would be foolhardy not to go ahead fast on what we voted, the 2,100 to get going, you know, with design. That's my opinion, and I doubt that will change.
Well,
I agree with your opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's the,
It's a lot of money, you
yeah,
know.
I mean, when you think about what we've invested already,
Right.
and to not take advantage of it,
Yeah.
to me is so wrong.
But
mean-
with
Yeah.
With that said, though, what kind of people would go to the CWMP kickoff meeting?
that we're proposing as our first kind of public, this is the, you know, the first come to Jesus,
Okay.
if you will, for any and all input on concerns, direction,
Yeah,
you know,
okay. Do whoever, plan to have a CWMP revision committee? Or is it all gonna be just Russ and GHD?
I have been thinking about that.
Yeah, I have too, but I don't know what the answer is.
And I don't know what the answer is either. I think ultimately it would be a decision of the selectmen, but
Right.
I've been trying to weigh that out in my head, you know, and maybe it's once we kind of get going and get the dirty laundry aired out and see what we're revising,
Right.
what, you know, we
But-
could,
I would say that one advantage, and certainly could be disadvantage as well, but one advantage of having a committee is that then all the information that's discussed is public. So nobody has to go scrounging for it. You know, we no longer have a wastewater committee where people could at least use them as a point to say, you know, I need to know this, find me the right person to tell me the answer to that, you know, so,
Mhm.
although this wouldn't be exactly that, but I don't know either yet.
yeah, and that's,
Yeah.
I've been wrestling with it in my head. I
Me
did
too.
bring it up to Joe too about, you know, should we consider reviving
Right,
wastewater implementation or wastewater support committee,
but,
you know, to kind of
right,
work, you know, because it's too much for the select, we can't go back to the selectmen
Yeah.
every other week, you know.
you know, another thing too is, you know, we made, you know, a big deal about being able to do the aerial surveys and everything now, which I hope
Mhm.
they're being done, but, I mean, the idea of delaying, you know, 3 months, you know,
I don't,
yeah.
yeah, I wasn't planning 3 months.
Okay, but, or, you know, any
Yeah.
amount of time, I'll be happy to be at the kickoff meeting to say that, and work it in somehow, because we did vote, we voted now, so, you know, what's, we have free cash, we have the vote, we have free cash, you know, what is it that people are trying to, they had their chance, October 18th, you know, what is the problem? I don't, unless somebody explains to me, you know, we have a vote, we have cash, I'd call Russ today and say, get going, you know, but that's just me.
I got the draft contracts for the other two
Okay.
today, so I'll make sure that the other third one comes quickly behind it.
Dan, what else, hang on a second. Dan, what else you got on your superintendent's report?
Just let the board know, I did get permission from administration to advertise the 2 positions for replacing our retirees. I'm hoping to get everything to Tracy this afternoon. We just received the final draft of our new emergency response plan. You may recall we were working with Horsley and Witten on our cyber security, our risk and resiliency assessment, and they also worked with us on cyber security. Part of the America's Water Infrastructure Act of 2018 requires us to have our ERP updated by December 31st of this year, so we get the draft, got to review it, and we'll have that certified before then. And DEP did come out to inspect the contract 2 pump stations in East Harwich, the RJB contract on Church Street. We are still working on getting the generator up for Hardin Lane. We did get the plumbing, the town plumber did the gas from the meter socket to the generator. It's been inspected. I get the call for the meter today, and then Scotty will be wiring that in. Once that generator's hooked up, DEP will give us the authorization to operate that pump station. And I think that's it.
When are we tying in? When are we gonna do it?
Yeah, so, the $1 million question.
Right,
I have been working to try and get that done for 5 months.
The Board of Health?
It is, no, the town of Chatham is still
Oh,
sitting on the contract. I have escalated it to the town administrator. I was copied on an email this morning between the towns, us and Chatham, to try to draw a meeting to get this resolved, as we are, you know, we've been held up by that now
People
for,
asking when they get to that.
me too.
right.
So I'm really hoping that I mean, there's nothing of substance that I saw in any of the comments that I've seen, so I don't understand quite what the holdup is, but.
Is there anything this board, what we can do to send a request for response?
I mean, I think at this point now, Joe and the town manager and Chatham have exchanged that, and that will, so Joe ultimately requested a meeting of the intermunicipal agreement working group. which includes, Larry, Joe, myself, Chatham, a couple of Chatham selectmen, the town manager. So I think that where that email was sent this morning to all those parties, that,
I mean, the bottom line is, we need a more timely response, because what Chatham is holding us up.
yes.
And if they want to do that, or how they want to conduct business there, that's fine. But when we need information and they're actually delaying us, that's an issue. We're in bed with them now, going forward.
Yeah.
But we need better response time. I mean, or someone designated specifically to you to answer questions or respond, because it's just delaying us ridiculous.
Yeah.
5 months? I mean, come on.
Yeah, and I think ultimately it's going to have to be a future discussion at one of the IMA working group meetings where we establish some reasonable timeline for correspondence, because right now it's unreasonable, and I wish I had stronger words, but I can't find them.
Right, well, it's just inappropriate, and especially when you have two towns working together. We need the information we're asked. I mean, I'm not saying we need it in 24 hours, but 5 months is just, it's just unacceptable, so.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
Unless I missed anything. Anything else?
Anything for the superintendent's report?
Nope, I'm
Mr.
good.
Thompson? Noreen?
I'm good.
John?
What's up?
All right. The one thing I did notice though, Dan, was pumpage. We're down 16 million. Approximately 16 million, right, from last year?
Yeah.
But that's even without the restrictions.
Well, there's still, and that's something that we should probably take up at the next meeting, because the board, the restrictions are technically still in effect. The drought declaration was rescinded, because, from the state, but Harwich is still technically under water restrictions. But that's, probably because the storms were bad for us.
Yeah.
Nobody's watering.
Right.
I was impressed. I was impressed with the rainfall recently. What the hell?
That was huge. All right, then, next meeting. That's putting us into Thanksgiving week. What are you looking at that's time sensitive again?
Depending on what comes out with budget and capital, like I said, I'm gonna reach out to Joe about the capital forms, or sending in revised ones in the near future after we can meet again.
We don't have a scheduled time date for capital, do we?
No. Is there anything else? Time sensitive?
No, just what you said, capital and budget.
Do you want to do 3 weeks out, or is that too far? That'd be the end of November, beginning of December.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Does that work for everybody? The week of 29th through the 3rd? That gives us the week after Thanksgiving. Get a meeting in December. Alan, would that work for you, that week?
In the first week?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the 1st or 2nd of December?
Yeah, you want to stick with Wednesdays? Does Wednesdays work with everybody?
I'd rather stick
Yeah.
with Wednesdays.
All right, so December 1st then?
Yeah.
Time-wise,
I have a department head meeting at 1.
at 1? Okay, so we stick with 11 o'clock, does that work for everybody, 11 o'clock? All right,
What time?
11 on the 1st?
Is there anything?
Signatures?
Yeah.
By the way, I'll just mention that there was an EPA workshop that you sent out information about, and it was postponed because that was during the week of the storm, and
Am I showing this right?
so many people didn't have power. So they did reschedule it if anybody's interested. I still have the link for the 30th, morning and afternoon.
Yeah, because I wanted to register for all of those. I think they were looked like great courses.
Yeah.
And then Was that the week of the, I forget what I had another training and that, was that?
Well, it was the storm.
Yeah, the storm, yeah.
But at any rate, I can send you the new link
Yeah,
if you
that'd be
want
great.
that they sent to me. All right, I'll
So
do that.
what is it in regard to?
It was, it's just a workshop, a Zoom thing.
Yeah.
Where first, well, I don't remember what the first session was, that's gone by, but the morning session is all about different funding techniques for wastewater and water, which is interesting. And then in the afternoon, they were going to do case studies from different towns. I can't remember who the towns were off the top of my head, Hull or somebody else, but also she had told me when I was signing up for the other one that, you know, you could come and go. It was a Zoom thing, you know, like, let's say, you know, it's 11 o'clock and you just want to leave. Nobody's, you know, checking on you. So if you like, I'll send the link to everyone.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, cool.
You want me to include me on that
You
email
bet.
as well?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that way people will have it for... Well, I can't believe how much is going on.
It's busy.
I thought people were great at town meeting. It was nice to hear Peter DeBacker off the bench.
Can we get, you want to get 5 signatures on these?
Yeah, we're gonna update that one. I was just talking to Sandy about it earlier.
On a positive note,
Huh?
This was
on a
you.
positive note,
Give that to.
What do you mean? Is it-
Peter.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Okay.
Better check these.
Somehow we always send back less than that. And Tracy said too was, Alan takes him home sometimes with in his packet.
There's only-
To add more, if you could just sign
Maybe
anywhere near
underneath there, Alan?
signatures. If you could sign anywhere near those signatures, we're adding more signature lines on
Okay.
some of those forms.
I missed what you said, huh?
Said somehow we always send back less papers than Tracy says to us. Sometimes you take them home in your packet.
Yeah.
I was going from the paperwork when I did that.
Oh.
I'm sorry about that.
It's fine.
I know you just woke up though, so
Oh, not a bed.
touchy.
I don't think I'm very sensitive. I really don't.
Very cordial.
Yeah. Some would disagree. Some people think I have an abrasive personality.
Really?
Come on.
Who are they?
My supervisor.
We'll take care of them.
My supervisor. Not my supervisor today, when I was in package. He told me I had an abrasive personality. I thanked him. Thank you.
That's, well, in that case.
Thank you. Yes.
Next week looks so cold.
No.
Boy, Pilates.
Don't say that.
It was hit 29 Friday night, Saturday
It's so
morning.
many.
29. That was cold.
Was it Sunday morning cold too? I think
Yeah, there
I
was
saw
one
it. It's
morning
like-
that was really,
Yeah.
Well, Saturday morning, I hit.
Saturday morning was freezing.
Saturday
Yeah.
morning, it was like 29.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Just
wait,
the morning
wait.
I walked and it was
I
rough.
shut my water
Soccer
off.
field was frosty.
Yeah.
Yeah, first frost, Saturday, yeah. It was fun.
I just wanted to say happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank
We
you.
won't see you until December.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thanks.
Thank
See
you
in
for
December.
everything.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, so all we need is a motion to adjourn.
Alan.
So moved.
And second,
Second?
all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everyone. December 1st. So, John,